Hey, Mama friend. Welcome back to the Mama Mindset Podcast. I'm your host and creator, Amy Cothran. Today's episode, you're going to notice, is a little bit different because what I've done in this episode is I actually recorded this episode live through Instagram. And what I think I'm going to try doing a little bit in the future is recording it probably to Facebook, and I might jump back and forth. I'll definitely try and notify you when I do so. I'll be a little prepared for that, but you'll notice this episode is a little bit different. It's going to sound a little bit different because it was live. So in this episode, I talk very specifically in terms of preparing your family. Okay. I think it's incredibly important with everything that's going on in the world right now for you to be prepared, for you to prepare yourself, for you to prepare your family, and for you to prepare your environment. Okay. In several different ways. I dive into that in this conversation. So grab a cozy beverage, maybe grab a notepad for some ideas, because I think as we have this conversation, it's going to spark some ideas. It's going to spark some questions that you're going to want to investigate. Questions and conversations you're going to want to have with your spouse as we go through this. So grab your cozy beverage, your pen, your pencil, your notepad, and join me in this conversational journey. So bear with me on a little bit of this. I've never done this before, but I feel like this conversation I want to have with you today is something I want to have with everybody almost in person, but obviously I can't do that via podcast, via Zoom. And I didn't really have anything scheduled or set up. So I just thought I would hop on and do it live and then also record it. And then you can go back and listen to it or watch it on YouTube as well. So I'll just give everybody a couple more minutes to see if anybody wants to join. I do also want to make sure that since we are going live, that you understand and know you have the option and availability to send me questions. So if it works at the end, if I have any questions, I can answer those at the end. But for the beginning of this, I just want to put this all out there, get all of the thoughts in my head out there, and then I'll go through and answer any questions that you may have at the end. Okay, so take a little sip of water really quick. I'm really excited to do this. I think it could be a really fun, interactive way. I have somebody listening. Yay. Hi. I eventually want to do this more often. If you guys like this method, I would like to do this probably over on my Facebook group, on my Facebook page. So if you haven't followed the Facebook group, I encourage you to do that. And then that way, because I can record right from Zoom and put it right onto Facebook. So we'll kind of play around with it and see the best method. But I think this is a super fun, interactive way for people to get involved in the conversation, but then we can also record it and I can post it onto the podcast page for later listening purposes as well. So today we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to dive on into it. There is some crazy stuff going on in the world right now. And I know we've talked a little bit about it on the podcast. I feel really drawn. I feel very drawn to have this discussion with you as sort of a mentor. And again, I just felt like we needed to have this almost more in person. And I've been talking to some friends. I've talked to friends at the library, and the discussions of the things that are going on right now, I want you to know, as a stay-at-home mom, we have this amazing opportunity to be above that. Okay. Be proactive in what's going on. A lot of you know that the CDC came out with, other suggestions. And it's really thrown a lot of mothers into this whirlwind. This podcast is not going to be about mask pros and cons. This is not going to be left or right. It's not political. There's no propaganda behind this whatsoever. It is my duty as a mentor to prepare you for what's going on in the world. And it is your duty as a mother in your household to prepare yourself first for what's going on in the world and then prepare your family. So that's what this discussion is about. It's not about what's right or wrong. It's not about my opinion about what's going on, but it has really thrown mothers into this whirlwind, almost another state of panic with, are my kids going to be wearing masks in school again? Are they going to shut everything down? Are we going virtual learning? And, if you haven't learned anything from this last year, then shame on you. That's the mother side of me coming out. Okay. We have all learned a lesson from this last year in being prepared in a variety of ways, in a multitude of ways. And so what I want to talk about today is taking a proactive approach and being prepared in what's to come. And there's two areas that we can do this. Okay. We can mentally prepare ourselves and we can physically prepare ourselves and our families, ourselves and our households. You mentally prepare yourself by understanding your values. Where do you stand on what's going on in the world? Have you had a discussion with your husband, with your spouse? Have you guys had those discussions? Have you had scenario conversations? If this happens, what will we do? If this happens, this is what we'll decide. Okay. You have to have those discussions, mentally and emotionally preparing yourself. And my husband and I were just talking about that this morning. Okay. That's kind of what triggered this discussion, this absolute need to have this discussion. It's conversations I've had with girlfriends, with other mom friends, and conversations I've had with my husband. I can tell you a couple of the things that we've done to prepare, but it really, really doesn't matter what I've done. It really matters that you just take a proactive approach and evaluate what you're doing or not doing. I had a conversation with a mom friend the other day that was like, well, we'll just wait and see. We're just going to wait and see what the school decides. And that's so frustrating for me to hear because that's what everybody was in. That's the state everybody was in last year. Let's just wait and see. Let's just wait and see. But you have to decide what is valuable to you. What are your core values as a family? Whatever that is. And then you have to just take a proactive approach to that. What we did was not play the game. I've already told you we decided to back out of that game and that roller coaster, and we decided to home educate our children. I know that isn't for everybody, and I'm not saying yay or nay to that. I'm just saying that's what we did. We took a look at our values. We took a look at what was important to us, and we made a decision as a family because we have the opportunity to do that with me being home. You have the opportunity to do that with you being home, to decide, to be flexible, but to also be forceful in what you're doing. Flexible, pivoting, and then forceful with that decision. I don't want to say forceful in make it sound like it's a negative thing, but just determined, absolutely determined that this is what we value, this is what we feel, and this is what we're going to do. So mentally and emotionally preparing and planning. I'm not going to encourage you to go out and buy up all of the bags of flour and all of the Clorox wipes and all of the boxes of diapers. I'm asking you to look at your households and decide, are we prepared to be at home for 2 weeks? 2 weeks, just give yourself 2 weeks. A month or longer starts to sound and feel overwhelming. So 2 weeks, are you prepared to be at home for 2 weeks if it leads to that? Because that's what they're talking about again. Okay. They're talking about another shutdown, whether that's as large as it was before. I mean, we don't know. We didn't know what was going to happen the last time. I don't want to encourage you to rush out and create shortages. Okay. But take a look at your pantry and see if you have everything that you need to just be home. and buy a little bit of extra flour if that's what you need to do. Buy a little bit of, I know fresh produce is tough, but if you have a baby in diapers, make sure you're stocked up on diapers. You don't need to go buy in abundance. You don't need to buy all of the toilet paper, but just make sure you're prepared. Make sure that you're ready for that. Brad and I have already had those discussions. Where do we stand with our pantry? Where are we with diapers and wipes for the kids? Could we get by with 2 weeks? We're almost always prepared just as a household for anything up to about 2 weeks. And really, most of the time we're prepared for up to about 1 month, but I know that a lot of people aren't set up that way. So is your household prepared? Okay, that goes into this physical preparedness. So let's touch on that a little bit. I'm trying really hard not to jump around. I just have a lot of thoughts that I want to get out there and be really honest with you so that you can, like I said, just be ready. The state of mental health, let me take a pause. The state of mental health in our country right now is starting to get a little bit better. It's starting to improve. And if things continue the way that they're suggesting it's going to go, it's going to get worse again. And how we prepare ourselves for that is by being proactive. Okay. How do we combat that mental health? That decrease in mental health. You combat that. Sorry, my dress is like a little bit tight. You combat that by being prepared. Okay. By taking a proactive approach. So physically preparing and planning yourself and your environment in 3 ways. We talk about home, health, and wealth. And preparing your physical environment goes into your mental health. Preparing your home looks like decluttering. Honestly, I know it's not everybody's favorite thing to do, but setting your environment up for you to be home for 2 weeks, for you to be home with your family is super important. And I know a lot of stay-at-home moms struggle with the feeling of overwhelm at their house. One of the first and best ways that you combat that feeling of overwhelm in your home is by getting rid of shit. Just get rid of it, okay? Get rid of stuff. Declutter things. You can start by just walking around for 1 hour, maybe 10 minutes with a black bag. Okay. Just declutter it. There's so many tips and tricks out there. I'm not going to go into that on this episode of how to declutter. Just know that you need to create an environment that you enjoy being in. The other aspect is your health. Okay. You need to start taking a proactive approach to your health now. You need to plan and be prepared to start exercising and be healthy. And if they're saying, that the next virus is coming around, the next strain of this virus is coming around, and they've said it before, but the news and the media has not told you enough that you have to get healthy. Okay. If you are overweight, if you are not taking care of your body, then you're more susceptible to the dangers of the virus and the flu. Let's just talk about flu season when the kids go back to school. We can add that in there. This isn't just about COVID. Okay. This is about just life. This is about being a mother and taking a proactive approach. Are you taking care of your physical body so you can take care of your family? It's so important. This isn't about just weight loss or having a bikini body. This is about getting up and doing something for yourself and taking care of yourself. Okay. You have to take care of your health. Wealth. Let's go into that. Your wealth. What are you doing as a family to prepare your finances? Have you taken this opening of everything, this reopening of everything, and just dove back into your poor spending habits? I sure as heck hope not. Seriously, I really hope if last year taught you anything, that it was to financially plan ahead. You have to financially prepare. Have you started a savings account? Have you stopped spending? And it's probably very overwhelming to even talk about this right now. Where do I start? What do I do? What are some things that you can start selling there? And if you aren't sure where to start, pick up a Dave Ramsey book and read it. That's the best advice that I could give you for setting your household up and planning ahead in the wealth category. Okay. Saving money, setting yourself up to plan ahead in case your husband, your spouse loses their job for whatever reason that could possibly come up in the future. Now, I'm not saying all of this to scare you. I have no idea what's going to happen in the future. I just know the conversations that are happening amongst moms and amongst women is bordering on that level of fear again. And I do not want mothers to go back into this terrible state of low mental health, okay, poor mental health. And I really, truly, to my core, feel like we battle that by being prepared and by taking a proactive approach to being prepared. And like I said, that's mentally and emotionally and physically with yourself and with your environment. I'm going to keep repeating that because it's incredibly, incredibly important. So I told you we decided to homeschool because I'm not going to play that game. I just decided what we value doesn't align with this roller coaster of the decisions that other people are going to be making for us. I do not want to be told what I need to do and what I have to do all the time. And I don't want my children to have to be in an environment that doesn't fall in line with our values. That's incredibly confusing. It's incredibly confusing for them, and it's incredibly confusing for me. Now, where I was last year this time was in a pretty unhealthy place. What is the school going to decide to do? Just waiting around and hoping that they would take a proactive approach and be very transparent with us. And they weren't doing that. We had no idea what the school year was going to look like up until basically right before school started. And I wasn't okay with that. So we kept having these discussions, and I kept getting anxious and I kept getting upset, and I don't know what's going on. And I wish somebody would talk to me. And finally, I just realized, what am I doing? If I want to take back control of this, then I just bring it home. Okay. I go within my household. You can only control what you can control. I can't control the school district. I can't control the state. I can't control the federal government. Okay. All you can control is the decisions that you make within your household. You can only control what you can control. And I tend to be a little more, I don't know, type A. I'm Enneagram 3 or 8 or 3, depending on what time of day I take the test and when I'm doing it. So I know that is that's in my biology, that's in my genes, how I am programmed. And I only can control what I can control. So it was giving me anxiety and fear and this anxiousness of not being able to control everything outside of the house. So we brought it home. Okay. We brought it home. Now we're controlling what we can control within our household. And that starts with homeschool, or home educating, whatever that looks like for you. There is stress and anxiety in waiting for others to decide for you. And I truly believe that that's a weak mindset. And everything that we talk about on the Mama Mindset podcast is having a growth mindset and a strong mindset. And a growth mindset looks like you may be pivoting and doing something different that you haven't done before because it's what's best for your family. That's a growth mindset. Okay. And maybe that looks like you having some conversations that you haven't had before with your husband and with your spouse. Okay. Maybe that looks like purchasing some things that you haven't purchased before because you're just trying to be prepared within your house. We have bug out bags, and that's not because of the pandemic. That's just because we live in a rural area and we have risk of fires around here too. But we have a bug out bag that we can just grab and go. We purchased those a while back. We've had them for a couple of years now. Just a bag that we can grab and go. And that goes into managing your household. All right. Managing your household and preparing yourself and your family. Going back into the physical preparedness, we talked about our environment and we talked about preparing our physical bodies. One thing that I noticed last year that people made a joke out of and made light of, and I really want to address that and hope that we can all be a little bit better about that this time around if things are going to go all crazy and weird again. And it's your alcohol consumption and it's your food consumption. Everybody laughed and joked about the, what was it, the COVID-20 or COVID-15 or whatever. And just this hot mess mom culture just blew up the idea of over drinking, over consuming, getting through your day, dealing with your children by consuming wine or cocktails or whatever is incredibly unhealthy. It just is. And I want more for you, and I want more for my family. And I'm the first to say that we absolutely were not perfect about any of this stuff. But the point of this is we should have all learned our lessons from last year. And what I'm seeing is a little bit of growth, a little bit of conversation in learning our lessons, but I'm also seeing a lot of conversation that we haven't. Just that absolute fear, that absolute unknowing. And there are proactive things that you can do to be ready for that. Okay. One of the things that we do in the challenge, this is not me, selling the challenge, which I'm not selling the challenge because it's completely free. But one of the things that you do in the challenge is follow a diet of choice. And part of that diet is no alcohol. Whatever diet you choose, it's no alcohol. And I highly, highly encourage people to do that. It's incredibly cleansing. And you realize you can get through the days and you can take these steps and you can deal with things without alcohol. And right now is one of the best times to start doing that, to take a step back and not deal with the stress of what's going on and the lack of decisions that are being made and this unknowing area that we're in. And just, and do not fill that with alcohol or poor food choices. And we are all drawn to do that. Okay. We're all drawn to self-medicate in that way. And right now is the best time for you to take a step back. Okay. The other thing that I learned this last year that I really also encourage you to do is use your power of observation. Take a look at what's going on around you. We do not need to be told what to do or what not to do based on what's going on hundreds of thousands of miles away. You need to take a look at your immediate surroundings and use the power of your personal observation to make an informed decision about your family. I encourage you to turn off the news. I encourage you to stop getting your local newspaper because it's all political propaganda, either for or against whatever. It's just the reality of the situation. Take a step back. One of the beautiful things that we have as stay-at-home moms is time, but it's a blessing and a curse. We have time to be on our phones, which is a great thing. We can be as informed as we want to be, but there is a point where we're over-informed. And that is what causes a lot of fear. And I was there. Okay. I was that mom last year that was overly informed. I was overly watching things and looking at things, and it just created fear. This year, right now, I've already made the decisions. I've already decided as a family, Brad and I have, where our values are and what that looks like for us as a family. So it doesn't matter what's going on in the news for me, because what's going on in our household is what I can control. I can control what I can control, and that's it. So the best form of science for you, for all of us in the United States right now, if everybody just used their power of observation to make an informed decision, if every single one of us did that, I feel like things would be going a lot differently. And at least for you as a stay-at-home mom, use your power of observation. What's going on in your community? What's going on in your local area? What's going on on your block even? Use your power of observation to make an informed decision. A proactive informed decision. I really don't want to hear everybody saying, well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We'll see what the school decides. We'll see what the state decides. We'll see what the government decides. Why are you waiting to make a decision for your children and for your household based on what everybody else is deciding? You have to make a decision based on what your values are. You have to make your own decision. And I want to empower you to do that. We have this amazing ability to do that right now as stay-at-home moms. We are not controlled by anything else around us. Okay. We can control our own household because we're home. So I just want you to do that. I don't want to hear that we're waiting for this or that or the other thing. I want you to decide what you're going to do. I want you to take some proactive steps to purchasing some things that you need for your household. So you're 2 weeks prepared. What does that look like for you? Everybody's house looks a little bit different. Okay. I know this is a huge tangent, and I know I'm trying to make this as concise as possible. I just have so much to say, and I have so much love for you guys. Okay. That's really where this is coming from, is I have so much love for you. And I have almost this kind of mama bear protective instinct over everybody. And I just want everybody to be safe, to be healthy, and to be prepared. And I feel like we need to have this conversation. I feel like last year we were just at the beck and call of everybody else around us. And that's bullshit. That is so ridiculous. And I want you to be safe. I want you to be protected in your household. I want your children to thrive. I want your household to thrive. And that looks like you being prepared. Okay. I don't want your mental health to get to the point where you need drastic help that you can't get if things, shut down again. Okay. I want you to start some healthy habits right now so you can be prepared for what's to come. It's right around the corner. Okay. I think we can all feel it. Everything is building. Everybody's having these discussions. And it makes me sick to my stomach when, as moms, we're still having the same discussions that we had last year. And it makes me feel like, did we not learn anything? Because we should have learned a shit ton from last year, especially stay-at-home moms. Okay. Because that's my audience, right? That's who I'm talking to. What did we learn from last year? And that's, if we're going to be home, we need to prepare our homes. If we're going to be home, we need to prepare ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally, how to be home. Okay. How to be home and be healthy still. It doesn't look like filling your body with wine. It doesn't look like filling your body with a bunch of junk food. I think we all did it. Okay. Brad and I took a hard look at last year, and we are incredibly proud of ourselves because in the beginning, we all did what we were told. Okay. And we just kind of followed this roller coaster. And then we switched. We changed and we said, you know what? If we're in this, if this is the state of what we're in right now, we're going to make the best of it. And we did. We really, really did. I took extra steps to declutter the house. We decluttered the garage. We got things set up. We started doing challenges. We started doing programs. We got ourselves healthy, really healthy. We got our family healthy. The girls, we already eat really, really well, but we did some really big adjustments. We did some mental toughness work. We had some heavy conversations, some big conversations on being prepared. We started a business because there was a need for it. We started our Airbnb because as we live in Idaho, so things weren't always completely shut down. We had the availability to do that. And I encourage you to do the same. What can you do within your environment to thrive? That was something that we knew we could do within our environment. And you say, well, Amy, gosh, you're so lucky because you have a little bit of property or you live in Idaho, so things are just different than they were there. But everybody has the opportunity to do the reflective work and to thrive within your own environment. Okay, you choose to live in the environment that you're in. Now, how do you thrive in that? How do you thrive in that? You're not going to you may not start a Airbnb glamping experience on your property like what we did, what we were able to do. Maybe you start an online business. Okay. Maybe you start another stream of revenue coming in. Maybe you work on something with your husband and you do it together, because that's what Brad and I did. And our relationship was never stronger. Our marriage was never stronger. We thrive when we work together. And we could have taken the entire year just, wallowing in self-pity that we're all home and we're all doing this stuff. And instead, we chose to figure out a way to thrive. We chose to figure out a way to make a little bit more money. And you can too. The power of the internet is strong. Okay. So how do you take back that control? How do you do that together? I just know, I'm just reading through. I had to write some stuff down before I started this conversation. And I really wanted to try and be as concise in my thoughts. And I just was doing I was doing some reflective work on what we did last year and what we're going to continue to do this year. And I just want you to be protected. I just want you to protect your mental health. And I just keep going back to being prepared and having those conversations with each other. So I really hope that you guys can do that. And I hope that you can look at this conversation, not in terms of what we've done or haven't done or what we feel or don't feel. I tried to really make this, non-political. Whatever you value within your family is fine by me. Okay. You do you, and take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, take care of your household, take some proactive approaches, and have that conversation with your husband, with your spouse. Also, I don't think I've mentioned this yet. Please have a conversation with your children. Okay. Don't keep them in the dark, because they're incredibly observant. They're incredibly observant and they know what's going on, and they can hear you having conversations, and you need to have those conversations with your children. They aren't always able to express their concerns. They aren't always able to express their fears, but they know that it's going on, and they kind of like chameleon, basically, what's going on with you. If you're anxious, if you're stressed, if you're afraid, they see that and they feel that. Don't be so naive to think that they don't see it and they won't notice, because they absolutely can. At an incredibly, incredibly young age, they can see that and they can feel that. So let's protect ourselves. Let's protect our children. Let's protect our household. Let's control what we can control in our homes. This podcast, this conversation is for moms who want to improve their lives. These are moms who take these proactive approaches, who step up to the plate and do the shit that we have to do, that we do the shit that needs done. Okay. I want to empower you. I want to encourage you. I want to lift you up and let you know that you can make those decisions. You can do the things to prepare your family. I don't want to see the shit that I saw last year. I don't want to feel the way I felt at the beginning of the year. Okay. I don't. I just don't. It's not going to happen. We're not going to do that. We've already started to take some steps. If you are, just one little piece of advice, if you are going to home educate your children, I highly encourage you to get going on that. I know school isn't supposed to start for several more weeks. Order your curriculum, get it going. Last year it sold out. If you've never homeschooled before, if you've never home educated, get going on it. Bite the bullet, take a day and get it done. If you have any questions on it, feel free to ask other homeschool moms. Homeschool moms love to talk about what they know and what they figured out, and they want to help. Okay. Moms want to help other moms. I want to help you. So let's do this. Okay. Let's put the news aside. Let's put the bullshit aside and let's control what we can control in our household. Let's be role models. All right. I want this group. I want these women. I want you to be a role model for other moms. So share this with another mama friend. Let's take some proactive approaches. Let's be done with all of the stuff that's going on. I don't know if you can hear that. That's my dog. It's hot outside. And let's do this. Let's do this together. Okay. Let's join the conversation. I want to hear what you're doing. I want to hear what everybody else is doing in their households to take these proactive steps and to empower each other. What are you doing to prepare for the school year? What are you doing to prepare for the conversations that are happening right now? What are your values? What are your beliefs? Are you mask or no mask? Are you vaccinate or no vaccinate? I mean, I don't care. I don't care. I genuinely feel like you can only do what you can do within your household. Okay. So we set up our homeschool room. We set up our environment. We're still working on our environment. It's something that isn't just always done. So keep at it, keep working on it, keep having that proactive approach to all of it. And we'll keep having these conversations together. So thank you so much for listening today. If you guys have any questions, like I said, don't hesitate to reach out. And yeah, I look forward to talking to you all again soon. Have a great rest of your day. Hey, mama friend, thank you so much for joining me in that conversational journey about preparing your family. I think it's very apparent how passionate I am about it and how important it is for you to do so as a mother, as the stay-at-home mom part of running a household and running a family. You are a homemaker. You need to make your home and yourself prepared. So I think I'm going to continue to do these live recordings. So if you would like, I think I'm probably going to start doing them through Facebook. So, or both. I have followers on both ends, but the conversation can continue a little bit deeper and the questions can be asked through my Facebook page. So please go onto Facebook and add the Mama Mindset group to that as well. Again, please remember that this conversation that we had was not meant to scare you in any way. This was actually meant to light a fire under you so that you can be prepared for what's to come this next year as much as possible. There are so many unknowns in the conversations that are going on in the world right now. And as your mentor, as your friend, I want you to be prepared. I want you to take some time to prepare yourself. So thank you so much for joining me today. Please remember, as always, that I believe in you. I care about you, and I'm so incredibly proud of you. Thank you so much for listening today, sweet mama. I look forward to talking to you again soon.